start with our requests, more specifically query params, because that's how we will get our data. And in order to jog your memory on query string params, let's go back to my favorite API, at least for this course. Of course, the API is Hacker News by Algolia API. And once we navigate here, once we start scrolling and everything, and looks like I'll have to refresh, you can see that, of course, we can get the items, we can provide the route params, that's clear. But if we keep on scrolling, notice, of course, now we can start searching for some data. And how do they set up the search? Well, they have the domain, then, of course, they have some kind of endpoint that ends with search, and then they have a question mark. And after the question mark, we have key value pairs, which essentially are query string parameters. And then, of course, based on what you're looking for, whether you want to set the query or you want to look for a different page, then you pass in the value and hopefully you get the correct result. And as far as our setup, we first need to understand how we can send those query string parameters from the Postman, correct? So let me open up the Postman. And then, of course, I'm going to be looking for get all products. So I'll just leave the testing one as it is. So essentially in there, we'll just hard code all the time. But back in get all products, not only I'm going to be looking for the product, but I can go with question mark. And then, of course, I can add key value pairs. Now we have two options. Either you can type it here. For example, you could say name is equal to John. And notice how right away they're being added in this table as well. So that's the second option, where if you don't want to do it in the URL, you can just set it up over here. And what's really cool, you can actually check and uncheck them. And what that means is that if I go here with John, and then of course I send again the name, and if I don't want to send it, then I can just remove it. And if I want to take a look at the featured ones, and of course this is going to be featured. And as far as featured, I want to start with true. And then once we send, of course, now we just get back the message. But if we take a look at our controller, we should have access to those key value pairs in rec.query. So let's test it out. I'm going to go with simple console log, just so we can see that we're getting the data. And it is sitting in rec and query. And let's do it one more time from the Postman. So let's send it again. We get back the hard-coded result, but take a look at our console. Of course, I can see that I have the object, and then in there I have key value pairs with whatever I'm setting up in a Postman. And once we have jogged our memory on query string parameters,